And we are back in the building once again. The NBA playoffs are heating up. We are conference semifinals time, right? This is the big time right now. The last 8 teams in the NBA season fighting and battling it out for a championship. The Big Three show is back in the building once again. Big up to man like CM in the building. What you saying, my bro?
Big up yourself, bro. Big up to Chino. Hopefully we're gonna hear from him at some point today from those G League benches from Cancun. But we move in it. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Make sure you're hitting that like button, subscribing, doing all of that stuff. The notification bell is crucial, people, because we've got some good playoff games to speak about. You know, my mom was saying to me earlier today, I'm not getting ahead of myself, but if somehow Boston and OKC in the finals, we're gonna have to find a way, bro. We're gonna have to find a way.
Nah, we actually are. If it somehow happens, we may have to just do a little, I don't know, we lock ourselves in somewhere for like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Rent a little studio thing, yeah, and just do it live. You get me?
We're gonna have to find a way.
I mean, we can still do it even if the teams aren't there, but I think
it's true. But nice. It's a special occasion if that happens.
I think we may have to work that one out. Let's earmark that one. We can find something. I'm sure we can find and do something. We earmark that on the calendar. I think it's June something.
Yeah.
June, first week of June.
Finals, man.
Finals. We'll do that.
But there's still a long way to go.
There's a long way to go. Let's get into it. All right, cool. Right. Like CM said, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button as well if you're new, notification bell, all that good stuff right there. Pros Only Sports. Let's get it. The Knicks 2 up in the series against the Celtics. I'm gonna start, man. Like, we know what's been happening. We know the narratives that have come out of it, right? You know, the Celtics 3-point shooting struggles, their shooting struggles, late game execution in clutch time. But let's give credit to the Knicks first, right? Defensively, they have been on point. They have not allowed the Celtics to play a varied kind of game where we know what the Celtics like offense looks like when it clicks. Players are driving deep, collapsing defense, kicking it out to the open man, and then even maybe an extra pass to an even open man to get that free ball, right? But the Knicks, they're not really scared or engaged. They're a great rebounding team led by Josh Hart. So, you know, if you miss at the rim, he's going to be there to grab down that rebound, right? You look at OG Anunoby, like, he's looking the best that I've seen him probably in his career, right? Like, if I'm being totally just the way he's playing defensively, oof. And then on the offensive end, he's hitting those timely threes. Mikal Bridges, I said some stuff about Mikal Bridges before. I was like, why did he go for 5 first-round picks and they didn't get nothing for Luka? Not a damn thing for Luka. But when you look at the value to this team, 2 game-winning steals, essentially to seal the deal for them. You can see why they gave up so much draft capital to bring him in, right? So credit to the Knicks, man. Karl Anthony Towns, everybody was saying he needed to have a big series. So far, he's proven his worth, except for game 1. He was in foul trouble early, but then you could say that was refereeing a little bit. And, you know, like the struggles with refereeing in these kind of high pressure moments happens, right? Where if you don't give a lot, then you can't start to rein it back in because you will just lose control of the game. Players will start getting a bit crazy and stuff like that. So, you know, that's what happened. But in game 2, he proved his worth. And then I want to make this comparison, which I think the Miami Heat fans will love me when I say this, right? But they kind of remind me of that Miami Heat team that went to the finals against Denver a few years ago, right? Where they were great in the clutch moments, right? They kept the game close. And then they had their X factor in Jimmy Butler to help close, right? And when you look at this New York team, it's obviously a lot better team than that Miami team, right? And so they may be able to sustain this, right, throughout this series and beyond. But then if they meet against it, because like when you look at it, right, in terms of the landscape in the East, they're on par. If based on these games, they're basically on par with the Celtics, or the Cavs, or the Pacers, who are the teams that are left. So it's like if they were to make it through to a conference finals, I think there'll be confidence to make it through to a finals. It'd be very surprising to me because I don't know how they've been able to survive with such a short rotation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they made it so far. And then on the Celtics side, before I pass it over to you, bro, it's like it's surprising to see in these big moments. Yeah, look, let's bring him in. Let's bring him in. Let's bring him in. Let's bring him in. As soon as I said Celtics, you see how he jumped up.
Hey, in New York, country jungle where dreams are made of. It's brand new. Let's hear it for New York, New York. Yeah.
Nah.
Hey, the 5 boroughs, you know? Yeah. The 5 boroughs, man. The Bronx, you know what I'm saying? We're in Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? Manhattan, you know what I'm saying? Staten Island, you know what I'm saying? What's the other one? I don't know.
Look at you, shameful guy.
Yo, hey, yo, put your hands up if your team is down 0-2. Put your hands up if your team is down 0-2. No. All right. On the real though, no trolling shit no more. Tedum's a bitch, bro. 13 seconds is a lot of time, bro. Bro,
my head was
looking for a three, bro.
Gone. My head was gone. When
mine would be too.
Brother, it's 24.2 on the clock. It's your possession. You can do what you want, and you don't even need a 3. You could have done the same thing with 0.1 on the clock. They don't have a time to score. You won the game. But instead, he drives past Reach Robinson, dunk, and you give them the ball.
He was tripping, bro.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, let me finish on the Celtics, and I'll pass it over to you, CM, bro. And then you can say what you want to say. But basically, with the Celtics going up big in the game, right? In both games, right? And then letting go of the rope speaks to complacency, right? And I was thinking about this today. I was just like, complacency happens in all walks of life, in football, in basketball, like even those at the top, the upper echelon athletes, they can be complacent, right? The thing that annoys me when I watch the Celtics team is that we've seen them do this across the last 2 seasons. They'll go up big against teams sometimes, and then they're able to just like cruise right through. Look at Jerry. Jerry's coming in here. Look, Lakers fan. You see how they be acting like this, you know? You're at home, you know, Cancun. And you're here. But it's okay. Big up Jerry, man. I know he's happy right now as well. United just going through as well. Look, Europa League final. You see how he's happy, bro. Come on, man. But just going back to it, your complacency is very, very prevalent, yeah, in elite sport all the way down to wherever you are in your life right now, yeah. And it can creep in at any moment. And I think that's what's happened here. Because sometimes you're feeding into the narratives. Oh, you know, the Celtics are the best team in the East. The Celtics are this and the Celtics are that. The fans are talking, the media's talking, it can get to your head. And then you go into the game and you're not fired up like the way you're supposed to be fired up to make sure that you go out there and kill. I haven't seen many non-complacent teams like in my time watching sport. I'll just speak football, right? Sir Alex Ferguson's United teams never complacent, relentlessly going after it year after year. Pep Guardiola's Barcelona going after it year after year. His Man City team going after it year after year. It's a difficult thing to keep people on their square and going for something. I don't know if this Celtics team can repeat based on those 2 performances. They got to show me something. Game 3 for them, for JT and JB, is probably the most crucial one of their career because, and crucial game of their career because at the end of the day, they've hyped you up to this point. They've said you're the best duo in the NBA. They've given you all the accolades. There's a finals MVP. You're a champion. You've been consistently at this kind of level, and you can't go out with a whimper. So Saturday is a big game. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big moment for the Boston Celtics. Yeah, they're NBA champions, but I mean, we're looking into game 2. Jason Tatum, 13 points on 5 of 19 shooting, 1 for 5 from deep. Like, we've complimented Tatum many a time on this podcast for saying when he isn't on song, when it comes to his scoring, he's able to mix it up and to contribute to winning in different ways. But at the same time, this Boston team needs him to score. They need him to score primarily. Jaylen Brown, 8 for 23 shooting. Derek White, 6 for 17. You know, like it's not good enough ultimately. And it's the same conversation that keeps on coming. What are Boston offering to the game if they're not shooting the ball well? They get up to great starts in games, game 1, game 2. But the Knicks, their tenacity, Karl Anthony Towns spoke about it, their resilience, their tenacity in games to stick with it, to stick with their game plan. You know, we speak about their small rotation. The advantage of that is everybody knows what they need to be doing at any given time. There isn't a lot of switching and you know, mix-ups. Everybody knows when they're going to be in the game, what they need to contribute and how they're going to contribute. So in situations like this, they continue to stick with the game plan. They continue, and in their sense, they play harder. They step it up defensively. They put Boston in awkward situations. We're speaking about that final possession with Tatum running down the clock, gets into an awkward space inside the paint and tries to pass it away. And it's a really good defensive play by Bridges, who we all know his wingspan. Like Tatum put himself in a very, very bad position, knowing the defender that switched on to him ultimately. And that was murder she wrote. We speak about the abilities of Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, who has had criticism in terms of his toughness. To be fair to him, he's come over to New York, and we started to see a shift in his mentality in his latter stages of his Minnesota career, and he's carried that over to New York. Even when his performances waver to a certain extent, he showcases that sense of on-court leadership and resiliency and toughness. And it is throughout this New York team. The way the roster was constructed, defensively is their calling card. When they started to kind of have an upturn in a few years ago, when they had the likes of Julius Randle and co, defense was the number one go-to for the New York Knicks. And at certain stages, they went away from that. And we asked the question, why? Especially when you have a coach like Tom Thibodeau. But we're seeing them at their very best here, playing with a high level of intensity defensively, offensively, also getting it done because you have the talent. You have Cat. You have OG Anunoby, who's stepping up, like you said. And even when guys have been out of this New York team, OG has stepped up big time. Yeah. Big time. So you have the guys that can perform on both ends of the floor, and you just need to put that together. And there were a lot of questions revolving this Knicks squad heading into the playoffs in terms of their record and competing against the best sides in either conference. But they've been able to match and show up at the right moments, especially in this series against Boston. For the Celtics, you're defending champions. You can only say as much when it comes to, we want to run it back. We want to showcase this. We want to showcase that. You need to show it on the court. Yeah. And essentially, what we're seeing, especially in these late game scenarios, I mean, I saw the Knicks in the 7.5 minutes leading into the final minute of the fourth quarter went on a 21-2 run. That can't happen.
Because you can't.
Not in crunch time.
They
in crunch time.
In that fourth quarter, I think they went 7 minutes without scoring. 7 minutes. It's inconceivable. It's just like, I was shocked seeing it. I was just like, just easy buckets too. Just get into the rim, just rolls off on the other side, or you know, you've got a mad open look from free, and it just doesn't go down. It's too short. It's too long.
But this is the thing with the Celtics. Are they going to mix it up now? Because you're in a desperation mode. You can't go down 3-0.
But watching the game, right? I think they did. Like, so basically, they listened to the narratives that were being said about them after game one, and you could see the game, the pace. The thing, so the pace was slower. They were taking time. They were being methodical. right? They were still trying to shoot the three. Their identity is that, right? It's just to shoot. It's to shoot the threes. But obviously, the way they generate the looks is by driving and kicking, right? And it's just like they're hesitant to drive. They're settling for the three. As soon as they get it, they're pulling up, right? As opposed to take a couple of dribbles, see what's going on in front of you, then make a drive. Even if it's like a I don't even know how it's like a step drive, and then you come back and then you try and look again for another pass. Like it just wasn't working. I don't know what they need to do to move forward. It's just, but like you said, bro, Tatum needs a big game here. Like, it's all well and good. Round one, you had 3 games, 35 plus points. That's great, right? That's round one against a team that they're young, they're inexperienced at this kind of level compared to yourselves. And to be honest with you, they had a couple of injuries, major injuries that could have made it a bit more difficult for you, right? You move into this series now, it's not a foregone conclusion. It's the semifinals. It doesn't matter what their record was against the big teams that they faced during the regular season. Once you get into the playoffs, it's all 0-0. We brush all that to the side. So you approach it in a different way, in a greater way, where yes, you have to maintain points, because that's what the New York Knicks have done. Even though they were 20 down, they weren't panicking. They just played through it. You shouldn't be panicking. You shouldn't be panicking. If the three ain't falling, you're going to have to switch it up during the game. The adjustments has to be made. And I think the coaching staff are telling them that. But the problem is that it's the execution side. And this is the thing that I hate about sports. I know for a fact, that coaches are not, they don't spend time preparing for games and say, don't do this or don't do that. The game plan is there. They give the keys to the players. Once you cross that white line in whatever sport you do, your coach has done their job. If you don't execute, the lucky thing about some sports is that there's half time. There's timeouts in basketball. So there you can make your adjustments. There people can fire each other up. But then when you go back out after the timeout, after halftime, and then the same things occur again, I've got to put the feet in the. I've got to blame I've got to place the blame in the feet of the players sometimes. And so, like, Jason Tatum took responsibility. I'm happy he did. I'm hoping that on Saturday, MSG in front of Spike Lee, we see the real Jason Tatum that everybody's been asking for.
Yeah. I mean, one thing's for sure is you can't get away with making 5 field goals in the fourth quarter.
Ooh, when I saw that stat today, like I watched the game, but I cannot believe that 5. That's all 5 in the whole fourth quarter. When you even didn't do anything in the game like that. You went to the free throw line once, just one time. Like, even trying to sell some fouls.
You've got to be aggressive. They need game 3. We're going to speak about OKC. But after though, you come out like you mean it. Not tentative. Not we're going to try out a few things here and there and then hit the gas. No. You from second 1, as soon as the clock commences and tip-off is there, start the way you mean to finish. Start as you mean to finish. Game 3 is a must-win. Game 4 will be a must-win. You must even up the series. It's as simple as that for Boston.
It's going to be a good game. That's all I know. On Saturday, I'm going to be sitting down with some food and a good drink, bruv. And I'm going to just take it in because they have to win. Like, they have no excuses. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear we'll try. I don't want to hear any of it. You have to win. If you want, your season is on the line from this point. It's on the line. Hey, but here's what it is, man. Enough about the Celtics. Enough about the Knicks. Let's move on. The Pacers. 2 up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And there's a bit of injury trouble now starting with the Cleveland Cavaliers, which was, I thought, going to be the thing that would have derailed their season. If they started to get injuries, and some of this is part of the impact of the first game where we saw some hard fouls and missed calls as well, which meant that, Evan Mobley, DeAndre Hunter, and I believe
Darius Garland.
Darius Garland obviously had the toe
Mm.
issue, but that was earlier in the Miami Heat series. So Pacers 2-up. Now, I actually was like, I don't actually know who was going to come through the series. I wasn't so sold on Cleveland. Like we were asked a question on KG stream last week, and I was like, you know what? I don't know, because when you look at the way the Pacers they had a very shaky start to their regular season, and then they was able to just storm to 50 wins, right? And then they've got a chip on their shoulder. They also are hurting from the fact that they got to the Eastern Conference Finals, and all 4 games against the Celtics that they got swept in were quite close, towards the end. So they felt they had a chance. There wasn't really much tweaks to the team. Their whole team came back. There's continuity there, maybe except for Thomas Bryant, who came in to be a backup center to Miles Turner, and they've held their own. Game 1, I watched that game live. Oh, like it was quite a battle between the two, and then in the fourth quarter they ran away with it. And Tyrese Haliburton and Andrew Nemhard, they really were pulling the strings. Like Andrew Nemhard in the regular season, he's not really a great 3-point shooter, but in the playoffs, in his playoff career so far, that's 2 seasons, he's the highest percentage 3-point shooter, I believe, right, out of everybody in the league, right? He for some reason, he just was able to shoot it from 3 in that first game. And then second game, late, even though the Cavs fought hard, Tyrese Haliburton ices it. Now, bro, what do you think about this series so far, the Pacers and how well they've done, and Cleveland, their struggles in these 2 games?
You know, I can easily say that I've been guilty of somebody that hasn't been paying enough attention to the Indiana Pacers. Their season's gone extremely under the radar. Yeah, it feels like not spoken about enough in terms of the success that they've had. And in the postseason, they've matured a lot in terms of the experience. We're looking at Tyrese Haliburton, a guy that can control the pace of the game. He's doing this. He scored 11 in the fourth quarter, game 2. You know, to combat Donovan Mitchell's brilliance. I believe he scored like 48 points. We know about what he can do, especially as a playoff riser. But ultimately, Cleveland got off to a great start in the game, and I think they needed to. But a lot of the time, what we see in basketball, we saw it in the Boston games, game 1 and game 2. We saw it in this one. It's how you're able to maintain that consistency from quarter 1 to quarter 2, 3, and 4. And the Cleveland Cavaliers weren't able to maintain that consistency, while the Indiana Pacers kept it close enough to be able to chip away, and eventually they take the game. So they're in a great position right now. Cleveland are going to be feeling flat. Donovan Mitchell post-game is here saying, look, we can't think about anything else other than preparing for the next game. You know, he said no excuses when it comes to the injuries. We're here. We felt like regardless, we were good enough to win this game. So you need to go out with the same level of intensity and poise to try and get back in this series. 2-0 is dangerous because 2-0 can suddenly become 3-0, or it becomes 2-1 and you've got all of the momentum in the world. So I think for Cleveland, with all of the questions that were surrounding this season in terms of doubts for the playoffs, they're going to want to come out now and hit the ground running, similar to what I said about Boston. There's a small margin for error. And it's unfortunate because of the injuries that they've sustained and are suffering from, because in an ideal world, you wanted DeAndre Hunter, the guy you traded for to improve your squad. You want a Evan Mobley, the guy that has been one of your defensive anchors and a much improved offensive player, and a Darius Garland as well, who himself has improved in that guard position, playing alongside Donovan Mitchell, and has grown as an individual. I feel. I remember at some point, I don't know if it was this season or before, I was kind of saying, when it came to the Cleveland Cavaliers, they needed a bit more bite.
Yep.
They needed a bit more toughness, grit. And these are the moments now where you get to see everybody else dig deep. I've seen Max Strus, for example, showing an extra bit of competitiveness that they need in scenarios like this. Donovan Mitchell, you know he's going to bring it. Jarrett Allen, we need something from you. So I think shout out to the Indiana Pacers, because in terms of their performances, Pascal Siakam is always a guy that I'm going to praise, because he's a champion first and foremost.
Yep.
And he has continued to expand upon his game every single year since that even beforehand, but since that championship winning season, he adds so much experience and underrated experience to this team. And he's not even he is a focal point to a certain extent, but he's not like the go-to guy in this team. There are a lot of other guys who are great contributors, like Miles Turner, who is a great professional, competes at a high level on both ends of the floor. We spoke about Naismith, guys like Andrew Nemhard, who are competing at a high level. Tyrese Haliburton, who has had his struggles throughout the regular season with injuries and a lack of continuity. But when it comes to the playoffs and guys are calling him overrated, he's responded. I've never understood these like behind the scenes votes and polls about who's the most overrated player, underrated. For me, that's all foolishness. It really is unnecessary conversation. And if I was a guy like Adam Silver, I'd get it. I'd contact whoever's organizing these polls behind the scenes and said it needs to stop now, because all it does is degrade the league and the players that exist within that ecosystem. So all you need to do is watch the games and understand how talented a guy like Tyrese is. To put the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, ice them out and put them 2 games down. What are you gonna say now? Are you gonna say he's overrated now because the crowd is saying it? You got Donovan Mitchell on the other side telling them to chill out.
Just like it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, bro, shout out the Pacers, right? Because last year, the thing that hurt them in their game, especially late in the fourth quarter, they would turn the ball over a lot because they were rushing too much. The Pacers, isn't it? They're really the Pacers, isn't it? They play with a lot of pace. This year, you can see how they managed the game in the fourth quarter. And case in point, that game too, they was able to manage the game and get that win. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how much more they can develop, because now they're at home. Can they now get that third win? Or will they come back? I wonder. Like, it's going to be interesting to see, because this was a semi-final that I thought was going to be a toss-up. I thought the Celtics would come through the Knicks one. They're going to have to go the long way around now if they want to do it. This one, I'm not so sure, because one win for Cleveland turns the thing on its head again. You're back in Cleveland, and then the crowd is rocking, and Donovan Mitchell goes on a mad one, and boom, you're back to square one again. And it could be going all the way to a game 7. We don't know. But look, it's mad interesting. Big up to Moss in here. Nice talking about road teams, Celtics troubles. Yeah, the Knicks, the Brunson's effect. Yeah, the Pacers, they've been doing really well. And then OKC, we're about to talk about them in a minute. My bro is about to give us the rundown on OKC against the Nuggets. 1-1 over there. Curry out as well. We're going to speak about him in a minute as well, as they take on the Timberwolves for game 2 tonight. And United getting a trophy. Yeah, I hope we get a trophy, though. I hope we end the season with a trophy. It is what it is. I will never turn down a trophy. I don't care if we come 15th in the league, bro. I'm not turning down a trophy, bro. I can't. Like, players, if you're a player and you're turning down a trophy, you're crazy. As a fan, I'm there watching, bro. I want to see them lift some silverware, fam. That's it. You want your season to extend into May.
Simple as.
That's all I'm saying. We can talk about 15th later. Like, that's cool. At the end of the season, we can all chat about that. But I want to see them lift some trophy with some silverware. and Jamal Murray versus his MVP. Oh yeah, I wonder who's gonna win the MVP. I reckon it's gonna be one of those two. But anyway, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. But hey, that series as well. This series here, Game 3, the season's on the line for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's simple as after all of the hyped up and wonderful season, they got a Coach of the Year. If you don't come through it, questions, big questions. That's all I have to say. But I think the injuries are hurting them a little bit. I think, and that's something that they're gonna have to look at their roster and say, are we strong enough depth wise with the likes of a Yang and a Max Strus? I mean, I know Ty Jerome has done really well, but he looks like someone that could start on a lower team and get paid potentially. That's how he looks. So if he's willing to maybe take less money to help their team compete, he'll be a great guy to come off the bench, and whatnot. But if he wants to go get paid, then he can go get paid. There's teams out there that will be willing to pay him. I'm sure they got the cap space, so it's going to be interesting to see the battle of the MVPs. OKC, Denver, locked in 1-1. My bro, you have the floor. Give us the rundown in the series and how you see it.
Game 1 was a tough one, right? OKC have been doing this thing all season, really, in terms of being up by 3 and fouling. And that essentially cost them. And it was nothing more than a couple of free throws, really, at the end of the game. And then, shout out to Aaron Gordon doing what he has done a couple of times now in these playoffs, delivering for the Denver Nuggets. Essentially, Nikola Jokic has another great game to open up the series. 46 points, I believe he dropped in game 1. 42 points, he dropped in game 1. So he's coming out, especially as he struggled in the final game of the previous series. He comes out and he starts it strong. Yeah. Game 2 now, what I loved about this performance from Oklahoma City was the fact that they came out and instantly, not gear 1, not gear 2, gear 3, off to the races, applying pressure, forcing Denver into mistakes. They turn over the ball a whole bucket loads in this game, turn over the ball, and that was all about guys like Lou Dort applying tight pressure, not giving Nikola Jokic the time to pivot around when he receives the ball at the elbow and allow him to do those things and find those short and small windows to do the amazing passes and playmaking that he does, or even in those post-up moments, not allowing him the space and the time to operate. So OKC did a really good job in terms of forcing turnovers, getting rebounds, pushing the pace in transition, getting points on the board and adding to that scoreline. You don't win as big as they did in game 2 without being consistent and having that continuity, like I mentioned when we were speaking about the Celtics and so forth. So that was a big game because you don't want to go down 0-2 like we've seen in multiple series in the Eastern Conference like we've spoken about, because you find yourself in a very sticky situation and you want to be able to take advantage of that home crowd.
Yeah.
At least for one of the 2 games.
For sure.
So, yeah, I think it was ideal. It was a crucial victory, and now they can head into this game 3 with a little less weight on their shoulders. But also, what you want to make sure of is the fact that Denver are gonna come out gunning,
run. Because this is what I was gonna say. Because you see that because obviously we've missed the game 7, obviously, that they had with the Clippers. We haven't spoken about it, right? But that performance that Denver played against the Clippers in that game 7, that when they came out for that third quarter, this is how they played when they won the championship. They would get out and run because they're used to the altitude there in Denver. They would get out and run and kill you and kill you and kill you till the game is over. That's how they won the championship. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, OKC going into that, right? They've got to be ready. You've got to be ready. Even last night, they should have went to Denver. They should have went there, get some couple days acclimatized and be ready for Sunday's game. Or is it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow. Is it tomorrow or Sunday?
Mm.
Or I'm not sure. Or maybe Saturday. My bad. Is it tomorrow?
Hold up. Yeah. Let's see, Friday, Saturday morning,
Yeah,
essentially.
it's tomorrow. So
So,
they should have went
yeah.
yesterday. And after the game, everyone on the plane, go. Because you know what's going to happen. You know how they move. That game
Exactly
7
that.
against the Clippers is exactly how they're going to play from now to the end of
The Los Angeles Clip. You're getting my head hot, you know, bro.
My head was hot,
The
bro.
Los Angeles Clippers.
My head was hot. James Harden. He didn't even do an interview. He left. He left the stadium. The arena. He didn't do an
Listen,
interview.
bro. My head was hot. Because I was looking at James Harden and giving this guy praise, bro, to perform like this in a game 7. Kawhi Bionic Leonard. What happened? After game 1, what happened?
I turned it off. I didn't watch again. I was done for Saturday night. It was late as well, fam. 4 a.m., you know.
Western Conference and all.
Me, I was thinking, yeah, this is going to be a game 7. Let's go. And look what you did. It's mad. But look, you know, watching this series between OKC and Denver, right? You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
Right? I'm calling it the battle of the MVPs. You don't know who's going to be. It's going to be between one of those two, right? It's really about which team can shut down the other team's best player, right? And force the rest of the squad to rise to help them win the game. So you saw how it happened in game 1, right? Denver did enough just to try and keep Shea. Like, you can't really keep Shea down because he's gonna find something.
He just can't. 30 piece.
Like, he's gonna find something. But if you can limit him in moments or even in the big moments in the game, you can sneak a win, right? When you look at what they did with Jokic, shut him down and then say, okay, Murray, come and beat us. Christian Brown, come and beat us. And it just won't work because we don't know what Jamal Murray is going to turn up in any given game in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's still having injury problems or whatnot, but it's not the same Denver team. They ain't got the bench that they had in the championship season. So it's a quite interesting battle between these two. Let me say big up to Riri. I know she wants to come in here. Yeah, I know. Tomorrow, sis, you're going to kill me tomorrow. I'm ready for the smoke. I know. I'm not going to speak. I'm gonna say my piece and I'm gonna let you guys just kill me because that's what it is. I know it is, isn't it? But big up to Riri. It's gonna be see this. This is what I'm saying. They're going to run that game 7 that we just skipped over because we've just been running through these semifinals. The way they killed them in that first, because they came out and they went on like a 22-0 run, and I was like, yeah, this is done. You can't come back.
But you know what I said, bro? You see when we lost game 1. I said, I love this. I love this for OKC, bro. Because it ain't going to be all rosy. No sunshine and roses thing on the road to a championship.
Yeah.
You need to face hardship.
Trust.
You need to face adversity if you want to win. So game 1, you take it on the chin. And they did exactly that. Game 3, you got to come out with the same mindset and then some. Because you don't think Denver are going to come out there sitting down expecting to get spanked again.
They're going to run. But you didn't see Jokic. Man was standing up in the middle of the huddle. Man was doing the arms. He was waving the arms.
Man was there, coach. It was like, you got clips now, yeah? Because Michael Malone got dismissed. You got clips of this guy going like this. And I ain't seeing the head coach nowhere. Where is he? He ain't there, bro. It's just Jokic. And the players are there going like this. When they're sitting on the bench, you're just looking up.
Yeah. That is funny as hell, man. The clips are out now. It is what it is.
Once the clips hit social media, it's unforgiving.
It's funny as hell. It's funny as hell. But when we look at because this is an interesting one. If we look at the regular season, and what it's been. What is the head-to-head record? I just want to just double check this one. Quite close.
So it's a tied record with Denver this season.
Yeah, it's 2-2.
Yeah,
2-2. I remember the last 2 games that they watched because there was a back-to-back that they had. That was the last 2 meetings that they had in the season, and then I think OKC won that one, and it was the same place. They were at home for both of them, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe I'm wrong. Let's have a look. No, it wasn't.
So, it was at
it was OKC first, and no, it was Denver first on the 9th of March, and then Oklahoma at home on the 10th. So yeah, the thing about it is that basically there's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. I can see this turning into a Game 7 type of series, right? Because Shea's gonna get his, Jokic will get his. It's up to the rest of the players on either side to step up and help their team win, essentially, right? And it's gonna be really interesting. Westbrook, basically has 7 home games, which is crazy when you think about it. Think about it.
He had himself a decent performance off the bench, man. 19 points, 5 of 11 shooting, 5 assists. The thing that impressed me about his performance against the Clippers was the well-rounded game he had. Defensively, steals, rebounds, getting in them passing lanes, injecting the energy into the team. This is what Russell Westbrook has become. And I love it personally. I love it because for so long, you're talking about the guy's washed. He can't contribute to winning. Come on, man. The evidence has always been there. It's about the situation you're in. Sports, a lot of the time, is about the individual and the situation that they're able to put themselves in. The situation that the general managers, the GMs are able to construct, that builds success. Success isn't built off of one person. It's an entire team. So these narratives are null and void.
It's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, look, him, he's enjoying being alongside a 3-time MVP in Jokic. Like, and the thing about Russ, is that I love the fact that he's been able to, I don't want to say humble, because humble, you can't say that, like, because like I don't want to say that. It's just more like he's understand what role he has to play at this stage in his career, right? Whereas there are certain guys who are still hanging on to, I'm the system.
Wow. Yeah. Until the system broke down.
The system, you were supposed to be the system in Denver on Saturday so that you could be here. Yeah. And then you took 8 shots the whole game. 8.
That's what you call the system.
8.
That's what you call the system.
Only 8 shots. And then when they said, okay, game is over, let's do press conference, I'm out the stadium. I don't want to speak.
It was a shock. Listen, it was a shock to the system for them Clippers fans that Steve Ballmer pays to come over and watch.
Hey, I forgot about this one too. They pay for a plane. That man has money. He's just throwing it away like an idiot. They pay for a plane. Come and sit and do
Listen, I wasn't even deep in it. Because it's not even like them people can move around on their own. They couldn't even dip when they wanted to dip.
Brother, yeah, because when you're away fan in a stadium arena, they make you wait. So my head is on Mars. I have to fly back to LA, but I don't even know if I got a return ticket. Because Steve Ballmer made you one way, fam. You have to go back, you have to make your own way back from Denver, fam. It's mad.
Listen. Even if I got the plane ticket for free, somehow I want a refund. I want a reimbursement, bro. Because that's unacceptable. Nah, man. But,
hey, you remind me, my head was hot, bro, when I saw that, fam. I was like, huh? So you people came all the way for this?
Yeah, the Clipper wall.
Back to what I'm saying. Someone like James Harden can learn a lot from Russell Westbrook, where he's had some unfancied moves since leaving you could say even OKC, to be honest, because it didn't work in Houston. Then he goes to Washington, and then he goes to the Lakers. And now he's in Denver. I mean, well, Clippers and then Denver. So like, and through that process, he's just had to just kind of be real with himself and say, look, I'm at this point in my career, but I know I can contribute. I know my game. I haven't declined as much. It just, I'll have to provide those contributions in certain moments. Whereas someone like James Harden, he's supposed to be the number one guy on the team, even though you're not. And it showed. But it is what it is. Riri, I've seen this. You know how funny this is? Because he said, if we don't win that game 2, I'm walking to work with no shoes in my robe. And he did it though. Shout out to Paul Pierce. Because at the end of the day, you gotta take it, man.
No. Hey, listen, we can't give Paul Pierce no shout outs, man.
I'm shouting him out.
He's been moving wacky and wild since in recent times.
Hey, okay. Let's clear that up. Shout out to him for him when he was a basketball player. But after everything else after that, I don't know. I'm not involved. But him on the court, big up to him. After that one, I don't know. I'm not sure.
The truth came out, man. Truth came out. But then again, with what certain man are getting away on that ESPN network,
we may have to start opening up the segments next year, innit, to start talking about some.
Yeah.
We might have to, you know what I mean? I don't even want to skip over. We might have to start doing it next year. I can't lie, because that's mad. Oh, it's all mad. I'm not saying that Minnesota-Denver was a good matchup last year. It was really good. I don't think that Denver coming through this one. If they do, it's going to be in 7. Tough. And then, Minnesota, they got to bounce back. And we're going to talk about them in a minute. But yeah, it's gonna be a good series between these two. You can just already tell. It's one of those ones where it's high level hoops. That game 3 in Denver are crucial for both teams. You know how it's gonna go. It's just about whether OKC can weather that early storm when they start coming at you, bruv. And then, be poised and come through. The Warriors, they battled to victory on the road against the Timberwolves. However, Steph has come out injured with a grade 1 hamstring strain, I believe. I'm not sure if it's a strain. I think it's a strain. It can't be a tear. Because if it's a tear, it's season over. So it must be a strain. Apparently, it's the first strain of this kind within his body for his whole career, which is crazy to think about. Because when you think about this guy, he runs a lot. He runs quite a lot on the court. So for him to not have a hamstring injury is actually quite a miracle at this stage. Big up, Riri. Tomorrow, we on KG's. You're on KG's thing, doing some basketball, so it should be interesting. But big up to Riri. And big up to Super Nick as well for coming through. So, bro, game 1.
Yes.
The Timberwolves, I think they were a bit rusty after winning that series against the Lakers so easily. Like everybody,
Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5. Super Nick.
This
is crazy. But we'll take it. We're taking this. I'm taking this.
Hey, listen, yeah. I can shave my hair now and just come out bald. It might take me a little more time to grow the beard, but it's cool. It's cool.
I'm already there. And I'm accepting my fate. They've called me whistle for like 2-3 years. I'm accepting it at this point. You saw what he did in AFCON. I'm accepting it.
And you know what? Certain games, Roland was taking a private jet. He weren't there. He was in the stadium.
I'm taking it. Any blessings you lot want to give me, boy, I'm taking it. If I have to be the double for him for a couple games next year, I'll take it. Just give me a couple.
I'm not complaining, innit?
I'm not complaining. Just give me half the wages. Give me half the wages. I'm there. But yeah, see, there's all this Lakers in 5. and they're home.
Mm.
They're at home. And I think, it happens in the playoffs. You win your series quite early. Game one in the next round, you start a bit slow. It's a bit sluggish. You kind of see it with the Celtics a little bit, right? Where rhythm, you finish your series quite early. You had 6 days off, maybe 5-6 days off. The Knicks only just come through their series and they're in rhythm. They're ready, raring to go. Anthony Edwards didn't have a great shooting night. It's supposed to be the big moment for the young man. He's going up against another NBA legend, future Hall of Famer. Can he put him on his list? He's already taken down KD. He's already taken down LeBron James and Luka Doncic twice. Well, no, not twice. Once. Got his revenge for last year in the conference finals. But what do you think, bro? Like, it's now Jimmy Butler's time to, be the number one option on this team.
Hey, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's Jimmy Butler's time to rise. This is why they brought in Jimmy Butler. For situations like this. But you're right about the Timberwolves. They come out, the energy was high after winning against the Lakers. All of the chatter about this Lakers team heading into the playoffs, the energy surrounding Luka and LeBron and co, and how they were able to dispatch them with relative ease in JJ Redick's first playoff series. Now you come into this game, Golden State, they've been through a grueling series. Shout out to Buddy Hield. He showed up in 7. He showed up again today as well. He was crucial. 5 of 8 from the field in terms of triples, 24 points. Draymond Green had a nice little performance, 18. That's a throwback Draymond Green style performance offensively. Jimmy Butler coming up with 20 as well. The Minnesota Timberwolves, I saw Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle reacting to their 3-point shooting struggles. I believe it's one of the worst, in playoff history in terms of their 3-point shooting. And that's something they're going to have to clean up, because Golden State, when they can catch fire, they can be a dangerous team, especially if you got the likes of Buddy Hield shooting. Obviously, Steph Curry, he's going to be reevaluated in a week. That's going to be a big miss. It's going to be interesting to see if Minnesota are able to turn it back up to the level we saw them reach against the Lakers. How are Golden State going to manage? Because now there's going to have to be elevated performances from Jimmy Butler. Minimum 30-point performances. There's going to have to be a Buddy Hield, continuous contributions in that sense. Draymond Green is going to have to step it up. You got Brandon Podziemski, those guys, even off the bench. There's been a lot of talk about Jonathan Kuminga and his lack of involvement in that lineup and rotation with Steve Kerr. How does he come into that equation too? So I think it's interesting. Golden State got a big win, even with Steph going out of the game. It was important for them to set the tone and to get that game 1 victory. I'm looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves and saying there's a lot of room for improvement, and they're going to have to do so. And they're going to have to take themselves extremely seriously in the sense that their 3-point shooting needs to improve. They need to clean up their overall efficiency, their intensity to the game, because they can't take Golden State lightly, even with a missing Steph Curry, because they've got guys that can damage them and hurt them in the places where they don't need to be hurt at this moment of time. You're on a high, but it's now time to refocus. Use that game 1 as a learning curve once again, and hit the ground running in game 2.
The dangers are different though. When you compare the Lakers to the Golden State Warriors, the dangers are different. You've got a problem on the inside, right? With Jimmy Butler. Then you've got Steph, who he's been on the scouting report since he's been in the league, so you know what he's gonna offer in the game. But then now you've got Buddy Hield, who's caught fire. Brandon Podziemski can shoot from 3. We've seen him do it, right? So now there's problems all across the court, and it's not as simple as we'll just put Jaden McDaniels on a Luka and let him just sit with him for the rest of the game and throughout the 4 quarters. Like, it's not that. It's like, Now you're gonna have to switch, and I don't know if they're, I don't know if they're ready for that just yet. Now, Steve Kerr, when you look at Chris Finch against JJ Redick, I think Chris Finch is a better coach than JJ Redick, hands down.
Yeah.
So he beat him. That was easy, right? But then you're going up against Steve Kerr, who we know is a mastermind in this thing. So it's like it's a bit different. You're gonna have to switch up your game plan, and you're not gonna just be able to rely on Anthony Edwards, showing up, being a superstar, and so on and so forth to be able to get you through this series. Now, Steph Curry being evaluated in a week is very interesting, right? And Moss saying it here that no Curry, you think the Timberwolves may have it now. That's a big crucial injury, because him being injured and they're saying reevaluated in the week, 4 games would have passed by them. We don't know where they go. By that point,
game 2, 3, and 4, that series,
it could be over if they're not careful. Big up to man like, and then look at you. I know you're gonna come and say something. I know you was gonna come and say something. We've already spoken. Go back to the start. It's the biggest game of their lives on Saturday night. Prime time, MSG in front of Spike Lee. You got to get the victory. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Post Met Gala and all.
On all of that. I'm saying that day, if you don't go and wrestle your victory back, then your season is over. Go and book your flights. We don't have this. You go and book your flights, bro. That's all I'll say, fam. That's all I'll say. Big up to man at Ellen in the building as well.
Come on.
Super Nick saying we did the dynamic duo, bro. And Webo and Wissa is crazy. Hey, yeah, I'm there. AFCON. We're back again. December, we're back again. Like, we're back again. So don't worry about that. Yeah, MSG is gonna be rocking. MSG is gonna be rocking. All right. Predictions before we get out of it. Chino, you've let us down again.
I can't believe this. Chino went silent and him God. Nah.
He said his piece and left.
Listen, bro's getting dashed out of the G League at this point,
It's the G League Ignite folded.
I told you, he's getting sent to the BBL.
Dr. Miami.
He's getting sent to go play in the BBL, fam. The G League can't accept this punctuality problem.
It's the G League Ignite. It's folded. You're out of it. You're out. Scoot Henderson.
Man's playing in the Big Baller Brand League, fam. Shout out to the VAR Ball.
Shout out to the VAR Ball, though.
Come on, man.
All right. Playoff predictions, man. We've got 4 series. We're gonna run down the next game in each of them and see where we end up. So we'll start. Knicks Celtics, game 3. Who do you think's got it?
It's gotta be Boston. I back Boston to respond in game 3, because if they don't, pack the bags early and just forfeit. It's over. It's over.
I'm running with that. I have to. Riding with my team. Even through 2 losses and how they struggled. If you don't win in front of Spike Lee on Saturday, fam, it's Cancun. Just book it from then. As soon as you get into the locker room, get on your phone, book the hotel, the flights, and just go. It's over. Game 3, we don't even know. So game 2 of the Timberwolves and the Warriors tonight. Where's it going?
I think the Timberwolves are tying up the series 1 apiece. I think they're going to bring that intensity. I think they're going to perform a lot better in all facets of their game. And they're going to take advantage of a missing Steph Curry.
You have to ride. You have to. I think I agree. Steph Curry missing is a big blow for the team. It's going to be the expectation level now is Jimmy Butler's going to obviously be carrying that offense alongside Draymond Green, of course. But I'm looking at the others. Who is going to step up massively? Is it going to be another big Buddy Hield night? Can they find him open to hit more shots? You know, it could happen. I mean, he's been hot the last 2. Can it continue the streak? I don't know. That's something that I would.
We saw earlier in the season. He had a good start and then he flamed out. That's Buddy Hield, really.
He fell off. They were wondering what, like, and Jimmy Butler's come in here, and I guess he's been, keeping mentoring him and telling him stay off the dribble, stop dribbling. Let me do that. Yeah, get open and I'll find you. I like that because he knows his strengths. He's telling his teammate, yo, stop dribbling the ball. We don't need you to do that. There's other guys that can do that. But I do think that despite all of what Golden State will do tonight, the Timberwolves got it. I think the duo of Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle will carry their team to victory tonight. Pacers at home against Cleveland tomorrow night.
Do you know if there are any guys returning? Because I predict there are guys returning to the Cleveland lineup, perhaps.
I don't know. That might be an interesting one to figure out.
Because injury report.
Because if there's some guys that are,
let's see.
Probably.
So, Hunter's day to day, Mobley's day to day. So they're both questionable for game 3. And Darius Garland's out. So, but he's still deemed questionable for game 3. But I guess he's more significant at this moment of time. So we don't really know if they're gonna return. The funny thing is, I still see the Pacers going 3 games up.
Yeah,
they have the momentum, and you could say to a certain extent, after 2 games, they haven't really played their best basketball. When we've looked at the way Cleveland have had the games going into the most important part, their execution hasn't been great at all. But the Indiana Pacers could potentially have an extra gear to go up. And with the confidence of winning 2 games now, do you go into game 3 feeling less pressure? How do you react to that? It goes either 2 ways. It goes you're a little too casual, or you're perked up for the game. You're ready to go from the first minute to the last. You're applying pressure and you're making sure you want to finish this series up as soon as possible. I'm picking the Pacers.
That's an interesting one. So looking at the injuries, obviously, I feel like the Darius Garland one is a lot more serious just because he's been out for that much amount of time. Maybe they've been just looking to see, let's give him enough time to recover. The other 2, I think, because they're day-to-day, they're going to... It's desperate measures right now. They're both playing. They will both find their way on the court on Friday or tomorrow, whatever we call it, right? Saturday morning for us over here. They will find their way on the court, unfortunately. So if they're injured or not injured, they'll find it because there's desperate measures at this point. I do think they wrestle one back, though. I think if those 2 guys get onto the court, Evan Mobley, we're looking at your direction. Defensive player of the year.
Hey, can't go outside like this.
You have to step up massively for your team. And I think they will stifle them defensively because that's what they've hung their hat on this season, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They will stifle them defensively. I think an interesting narrative as well that I'll throw out there. Tyrese Haliburton's dad not in the building may affect him a little bit. It's interesting because his family ain't there. Like, because I don't know if the mum is still together with the father or whatnot, but I don't know. Is she gonna go? Is she gonna stay away? Like, I don't know. The guy gives them a lot of energy when he's in the house.
What the hell was this guy thinking running onto the court? Man's talking about he was looking through Giannis. Bro, get yourself back in the stands, bro, and sit down. Go celebrate with Tyrese when he's in the tunnel, man. What are you doing?
That was funny, though. I can't lie. Like Giannis' head was gone.
You know what's funny?
He did restrain himself, though. He really could have just been slapping, man, if he wanted to. Like, he actually restrained himself. Shout out to him because, fam.
You see when Giannis is heated, he has that distant stare like he's confused, fam. He's like, is this really happening right now? And that's exactly the way he was staring at him. So shout out to Giannis, innit? Because he said his grievances in the post-match press conference and he left it there. He
Restraint.
went home.
Restraint.
And
Bro.
congratulations, because I believe he had a birth of his child as well not long after.
I've seen
So
that.
yeah.
Yeah, his wife had another child.
Yeah, man.
Healthy baby girl, I think it was. Congratulations to the Antetokounmpo family.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's mad. It's mad. But I do think the Cleveland Cavaliers will wrestle one back. I can't see them going up that side. I just can't see it. I can't. I mean, they're going to be on a higher paces, but I don't know, man. These players have been like that. It's just been unpredictable. We just don't know what's going to happen. You're predicting one thing, and then the next thing you know, something else is happening. So, and the final game, OKC against the Nuggets, game 3. I know I don't have to ask you. I know where you're going.
OKC. I don't care about the altitude. We could be 50,000 feet into the sky. I don't give a damn. We're walking into Denver and we're breathing that air.
Whew.
We're taking over. And we're taking a 2-1 lead in this series. We need it. We gotta have it. And we will take it.
I agree. I feel like OKC, if they're smart, they would have went to Denver yesterday, preparing themselves for tomorrow, right? Getting acclimatized, altitude. You know that Shea is coming in there and he's going to be the coolest person on the court. You know it. It's just the others have to step up, which they will. I think they will. You got to make it tough for Jokic inside. Force him onto the perimeter, and then you see some defense there. It should be interesting. I think OKC will come through, but it'll be a very good game. Like, be one of them kind of games.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of them games. It's gonna be a game of the round, I think. So it should be very, very interesting. And that wraps it up for today. Big up to everybody that's come through. Appreciate the support. Appreciate everyone in the comments and all that good stuff right there. CM, before we get out of here, let people know where they can find you, my guy.
Yes. You can find me at CM22ENT on YouTube and TikTok. I haven't put out a lot of content right now. I feel like I've been saying this for the last few weeks, but I do want to start putting out a different style of content. Where it's more of a sit down talk, intimate vibe. So I'm kind of working out how I want to do that kind of stuff. Whether it's putting out content on TikTok and YouTube and go moving forward from there. So I've kind of had to work around with the time constraints and the changes to my lifestyle recently. So yeah, you can look out for that stuff. As always, people, make sure you're looking out for the big 3, the big 2.5.
Yes,
2.5.
The
big 2.5.
I mean, name it the big 3 that you'll never hear, fam. It's crazy, you know.
Hey,
Gino,
man.
We shutting you down for the season, fam. It's over.
Yeah, man. Embiid. Bro's got the dodgy knees.
It's Embiid settings right now. Crazy. Big up to Chino. But yes,
Chino, man.
But look, you gotta hit the like button, subscribe button as well if you're new. We'll be back next week. The Big 3 show. It's gonna be crazy over these next few days. We might be talking about Celtics season over. We could be talking about a tied series with the Pacers and the Cavs. We don't know. OKC, 1 game away from a conference finals. The Timberwolves maybe also in the conference finals, 1 foot in it. We don't know. Make sure you stay tuned, people. Big up to everybody. We'll be back next week. Peace.